Today is kind of a tinkering day in the shop right here. As you can see, I've got tons of stuff up on the walls and, well, I tinker a lot. And I hang out with this dog here, Pepper the Catahoula. She doesn't do much these days but hang out with me. But what we're going to talk about today is something I started with Z-Man about January 2020 when they did a 3D modeling of a bait that I've been begging them to build for a while. And that's the new darters. This is the hard modeling that they sent me in the spring. And I will show you in the next clip the product, the end product, what we've came up with and how we're going to rig it, what it's good for. It's good for a multiple or a variety of species inshore and some nearshore fish. Fish that you wouldn't anticipate fishing with a bait like this. This is a 6-inch stick bait with a dolphin tail. So let's break it down a little bit in this next clip. You're going to love it. I showed you the 3D model. Here's actually the product itself. Look how alive that stuff looks. No plastisol bait can do this. I don't care what brand you are. You dream about doing this. This stuff is amazing. Super soft, super strong, which relates to super action. So those segmented sections that articulate so well, here they are in the real bait. Now this is in smoky shad. And I told the guys, I think this particular bait will sell really well in bait fish colors. So smoky shad's gonna be great. Opening night's gonna rock. My personal favorite color, beer run, that's gonna be one heck of a color. But the nice part about this bait is it mimics needlefish, Spanish sardines, ballyhoo, and just about every slender pattern. Now, when I grew up fishing, I threw a lot of sluggo type baits and fluke tail type baits. Well, this is kind of a combination between a worm and a jerk shad. It's got a nice flat side on it. If you look down the bait, it's a lot easier to see it on this particular bait. So it's got some flat sides on it. So this is going to be an excellent bait to skip as well as just open water cast. And there's going to be a couple of rigging techniques that are going to make this bait better than you think. And 3 of them in particular, I want to share with you. So I'm going to show you that on my workbench next. Now, like I said earlier, there's going to be a lot of species that this profile can catch, namely speckled trout and snook. But in the darker colors, the more earthy colors, going to be a great redfish and flounder bait. If you're sight fishing cobia off rays, it's going to be a great sight fishing bait. If you're working some shallow rocks for some grouper like you've seen me do in the past on the show with Brandon Branch and Jeremiah Carlucci out here in the Nature Coast, it's going to be a good inshore rock grouper bait. This bait is unlimited in the number of species you can catch. And if you made it up with that chatterbait head right there, you'll be able to catch bass with it as well, because this is going to be kind of a trimmed down razor shad look as well. Now, my favorite way to rig this is probably going to be on these Chinlocks hooks. This is a 4/0 Chinlocks hook, probably about 1/8 of an ounce. It's going to give it a nice even fall. And then head weighting it, it'll actually make the bait stand up. This is a 3/16 trout eye jig head. That's going to be another way that you could rig this bait. You could Carolina fish this bait. There's a lot of different things you can do with it because the action on the bait is a wild, wild action that's going to drive fish crazy. I would even suggest probably trying it out like we did out in Louisiana and putting under a popping cork, and I think you're going to find that you'll catch a much larger bull redfish, and that's something that we discussed a little bit in our bull redfish Flats Class University course. Now, I'm gonna touch on a few other things that you might not have thought of with this new darters from Z-Man. Hey, I'm back. And so is Pepper. Looks like she's dreaming. Did I wake you up? You guarding the shop? Yeah, that's the way I want to live one day. No rules, no time schedule, but that's not anytime in the near future. All right, back to business. Here's my favorite way to rig this bait, and that is on that Chinlocks hook. That Chinlocks hook that they make right there at Z-Man is the ideal way to really manipulate this bait. And because it's 6 inches long and you've got all that segmentation in the lower half of this bait, it will swim like the devil. It is a nice slow fall. That dolphin tail actually keeps a little bit more hydrodynamic resistance. That's a big word. But for us simpletons, that means it slows the fall of the bait quite a bit. So you can get away with a lot with this bait over oysters and things like that. Like I said, I love it for skipping docks. Does a good job that way too. If you want to make a smaller version of this, it just requires a pair of scissors. That's it. You can make it a 4.5 inch bait if you want to. And I'm working on the guys to come up with a magnum size for this bait. Now this bait will not be available until late 2020 at best. But I want you to bug your favorite tackle shop owner, bug them. This needs to be on his get list, especially if you want it when it starts getting cold this year. You guys in Texas, you guys in the Carolinas, because you're going to want to catch trout on this bait. I promise you. Hey, thanks for listening to me, just kind of ramble on here today. But if you like what you're seeing here at Flats Class YouTube, give us a big thumbs up and subscribe. Share with all your buddies, your fishing buddies. That's what our job is here, is to make you a better angler. Until next time, Captain C.A. Richardson from Flats Class YouTube, signing off.